Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7 of the Utopiacast. I am your host, Erik Hogan, here with my co-host, Michael Beaupre. Michael, say hello to the people.
What's up?
And I'm also here with, we are also here with our esteemed co-host, Elliot Vajnitsa. Elliot, say hello to people, hit the tagline.
Yo, yo, yo.
And today for episode 7, we have a Q&A planned that, full disclosure, we already recorded. We spent probably a good 2 hours getting together and recording everything, all for the third mic that we had set up not to record anything. So a lot of these questions are the second time we've gone over them, but we have a couple days in between, so it's as genuine as we can absolutely make it, but we have answered these before, so if they sound a little bit rehearsed, that's why. But, for those of us who've been paying attention or what we've been doing on the socials and whatnot, we asked to poll everyone, ask a couple of questions on all of our various social media accounts, and we were going to answer them on the pod, and we're going to do that. So I guess before we get into that, very briefly, you guys want to talk about training? You both are 4 weeks out as of last Saturday.
Yeah, 4 weeks out last Saturday.
Okay, so we have the USAPL Summer Open coming up. How's training going?
Good. I hit almost a PR pause deadlift last week. 480.
480?
Yeah.
Yep.
I hit 390 on squat.
Easy.
And I did 255 on bench. It
Yep.
moved okay, but
Yep.
I mean, we're still early. We still have time.
Exactly, and especially when you're a lighter weight lifter, we talked about this bench peaks late.
Yeah, I noticed that it does.
Yes, absolutely. So I think you're in a good spot. You're looking really strong right now. Elliot.
I'm feeling euphoric.
Really?
Euphoric. It's early in the block, so it's a little bit too late for me to say like what's really good.
Right.
You feel me?
I feel that.
But yesterday, this is a huge highlight. For those of you who have been paying attention, my thumb has been messed up for quite a while now.
The thumb saga.
The thumb socket, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been having to deadlift with straps, and it's kind of been giving me anxiety leading up into this meet. Like, will I be able to deadlift? Will I be able to hook? But yeah, yesterday I hooked for the first time in about a month. No pain.
And that was huge. And like we said, your heavier deadlift session will be more true telling. But just the fact, because you were having pain with pretty much 135 before.
Yeah.
And you worked up to what, 275?
3 bills.
Okay, and no pain.
Yeah, no pain.
All right, so that's a very good sign. So hopefully that can clear up because we got a big deadlift coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm going on a golf outing in a couple of weeks myself.
How's your swing doing?
Awful, shanking it off the tee. So, but otherwise, my training around that, sports performance wise, is going pretty good. So, but that's all we'll speak on that. So, without further ado, gentlemen, would you like to start with our first question?
Go.
Okay. So first and foremost in this Q&A, our first question comes from Jonathan Lavoie, Mr. Number 1 ranked lifter in Maine, is in Wilkes, is in IPF points, GL points, all that dots. He checks out. He's number 1. John's a friend of the Utopiacast. Shout out John, insane lifter.
Absolutely unreal lifter. Absolutely unreal guy to just be around.
And great person.
Great energy.
Great energy. So John asked us, what is something that we have learned or rediscovered this year related to lifting or nutrition? I can go first. If not, someone take the floor.
You take the floor.
Okay, so I guess the main thing that I've rediscovered, especially when it comes to training, so, everyone probably knows at this point who's listened to episodes 1 through 6, or, most of them, that I coach lifters. And, whether it be programming or technique and stuff like that, I've really defaulted over the last year back to the basics and back to keeping things simple. And I've noticed that just very, very minor switches in programming seem to do a lot. So like switching rep ranges, so going from 6s to 5s, or instead of like reworking an entire deadlift setup, maybe changing one thing, stuff like that. Defaulting to the simple things have really led to greater outcomes for a lot of my people. And I've noticed a lot of people are making a lot more tangible progress in a shorter period of time, which everyone loves that, right? No one's going to turn that down. So I'd say the thing that I've stumbled on, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate something that needs to not be complicated. And I would say that's my discovery.
I think for me too, it's like pretty much along the same lines. Less in terms of like programming and more in terms of actual training and technique. I think what I mentioned the last time we did this was recently my training at Jacked and Jilled, where they don't have any mirrors.
Right.
So I can't necessarily see myself on a squat or even a deadlift, even though at Soccer Sport we don't look in the mirror for deadlift. But, you know, usually when I squat, to use this example, I like am watching myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it look perfect. I'm trying to do like all my cues, like all my like feet rooting, all this and that, my breath, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, recently I've just been kind of doing what feels right, you know, and not overcomplicating something that doesn't have to be super complicated. And then again on deadlift, you know, there's so many cues, especially with the sumo deadlifts. And recently I've just been kind of not really winging it. You know, I still do what I'm supposed to do, but I've just been keeping it simple, doing what feels right. And I think I've rediscovered that sort of sense of like, this is how it's supposed to feel to get stronger, to get better, to lift, you know?
Yeah. 1 or 2 cues, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
No paralysis by analysis type deal. Michael?
I've kind of just like rediscovered like the love of lifting. Like I
Wow.
took some time off, and like it was probably like a good 2 years that like I really didn't like lifting anymore. And now I just like I like going in the gym even on my easy day and just like getting a pump.
Right.
And like right now I'm kind of dieting, and just like tracking is kind of fun. Like yeah, dieting can suck, but like if you find a way to enjoy it and just like make it kind of like a game and like figure out what you can eat that day, it kind of makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just having the structure piece, you know what I mean? You're forced to have structure, and structure's not always a bad thing in a short period of time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like the whole structure aspect of it.
Absolutely. And this is kind of why we preach people, you know, even if you don't think that you're ready for it, like sign up for a meet, because that would, you know, even if you don't think that you'll like it and want to compete at a high level, it sets everything up for you, you know, nutrition wise and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a cascade type thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the past I'd be training easy for a while, and then like I decide to do a meet in 4 months, and then I kick it in a high gear and I just start going hard.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's kind of what we have rediscovered over the last year or so. So let's move on to this next one. This next one is from Sam Peterson. Sam is a client of mine, has been for pretty much close to a year and a half now, maybe close to 2 years. 500-pound deadlifter, and has completed a triathlon successfully. Guy's a freak. So his question to us is, well, I'll ask this in 2 parts. First one is, do we plan on being in powerlifting for the long game? And I assume he means, well over a decade into the sport. Michael, you kind of already are. Do you see yourself going? How long do you see yourself powerlifting, competing, I guess?
Competing, maybe like another 10 years or so. Like.
And how old are you right now, Michael?
23.
23, so around like early 30s?
I'd say early to mid 30s. Like, I think once I start going down, like, my progress just starts like going down. Like, I'm not going to want to compete because I hold myself to like a high standard.
It's true.
But yeah, I would say probably into my 30s, I could keep progressing.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of people can do that.
I would say so. Elliot, you're pretty much ending year 1 of full-time powerlifting. How long do you think you'll be staying into this as a competitor?
As a competitor, you know, I think it's important to make the distinction between lifting and then competing, like you said, because as a competitor, realistically, I want to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as you get older, you stop being able to make as many, gains, make as much progress, this and that. So as a competitor, realistically, like similar to what Michael said, probably no longer than like late 20s or whatever. I just want to be in my prime.
Yeah.
But as like lifting as a whole, it really is like my hobby, my passion.
Right.
And so, people that come to mind are like, have you heard of Juji Mufu?
Yes.
Or like Rick Boogs, people like that. I'm not gonna say that I'm on the same caliber as them, but they find ways to like switch things up. They do interesting stuff, and more than just powerlifting, which I'm passionate about now, but this whole idea of progressing and getting better at something. It can be something crazy like a Jefferson deadlift or whatever you want.
It's true, certainly true.
Yeah, I just like it.
Yeah.
So as long as I can. pretty much, as long as you
Yeah.
can push it.
Of course, yeah, that makes sense. I think I personally can see myself competing, until I quite literally can't anymore.
Yeah.
Michael, I guess I'm a little bit different in the sense of, and I understand the point that you're trying to make, how you hold yourself to a standard, and I understand it would be very, very unmotivating to come in and know that you're never going to hit the numbers that you can hit before, and I could see that in a sense, but then I think like it would be cool to be like the strongest master. You know what I mean?
I think so, yeah.
That type of deal. So I could see myself doing that as well. But right now I've always, everyone says this, but I've really defaulted to it. The minute or maybe not the minute, but I guess when cumulatively over time, I'm really loathing it and it's something that I just cannot stand to be around, then I'll be done. I have not even touched a side of that yet. So I really can't see myself stopping within, I don't even want to put a timetable on it. I really don't know when I will end.
So you really love like the whole competing aspect of it.
I like we just kind of talked about with the, setting everything up in terms of nutrition, stuff like that, that piece of it. I love that. I love certain parts of the year when I have, a meet 2 or 3 times that I can line it up and everything is structured and stuff like that. And I can't see myself kind of going without that. You know what I mean?
Would you be able to like transition away from powerlifting though at one point, like what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
so?
I coach lifters, so it'll be very seamless to just go to like be a coach full time. You know what I mean?
And you think that would like fill the hole?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's other aspects, because I had a life before powerlifting and it was fine, and this just made it better. You know what I mean?
True.
So yeah, that's I guess the long game aspect. But before I get into this next one of where do we see ourselves in 10 years, we talked on the competitor aspect. Do you guys think you'll be involved in the sport when you're done competing?
I think I will in like some way, either like helping you at the meets or I would like to get into coaching possibly, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And then also you are coaching someone.
Yeah, I coach my girlfriend.
That's right. And she's made a lot of progress, hasn't she?
She has, yeah. She just sent me a video. She did 155 for 3 on squat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to get Lydia in a meet.
I know. That's
I don't know
what
what the deal is.
She just ordered a new Pioneer belt.
All right. Well, she's getting a Pioneer belt and she's pushing all this stuff. And I see Grace, both of them need to do a meet.
Grace is popping off, bro.
Yeah.
Grace is strong.
Grace is amazingly strong. She hit today on bench. What, 75? Did I say? Or
I believe so. Yeah.
75 for 4, like easy, like RP 5. We
Crazy.
just ran it back to start this new vlog.
All right.
Kind of euphoric, bro.
So, Michael, you think that you'll probably will stay in some capacity involved with the sport for as long as you can?
I would like to, yeah.
Elliot, Sam, or?
Yeah. This is kind of a little bit of a different approach, but I, it's ambitious too. But I kind of hope that I'm going to cultivate my like media presence a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, I'm blanking on some names here, but I want to be like known.
Yeah.
Known in the community, and whether I'm competing or not, that involvement of like people are gonna like look up to me, take my advice, look back on my glory days.
Right.
Shout out David Lade for the millionth time on the pod. I want to inspire people, so I don't know if that's what you mean by being involved in the space, but
yeah, more or less. But I think that you see yourself staying with the barbell game, I guess, in some capacity. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So his next question is, where do we see ourselves in 10 years? And you guys can take this in any direction that you want. It could be in life. It could be in powerlifting. Where do you see yourselves in 10 years?
I see myself still lifting at least.
Okay. So let's set the stage of how old we would be. You would be
33.
You'd be 33.
29
and
the date.
And I would be close to 35 because I'm turning 25 relatively soon. Yeah.
I think I would be at least lifting. I don't know about. I'd hope to be still like squatting, benching, and deadlifting.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know.
Of course.
Yeah, probably still competing because I said like my early to mid 30s as long as everything is like going good.
Yep.
Other than that, just like in life in general, like around this area,
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on leaving Maine.
Right.
Because we have like my family company, so
of course.
Plan on staying.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably buy a house and all that stuff too.
Yeah, maybe opening up a gym.
Whoa.
That is emotional.
That's a little emotional right there. Elliot, 10 years, where do you see yourself?
10 years, I want to be one of the greats.
Okay.
You know, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to come across as a little bit too ambitious here.
You don't have to. I'd rather you be too ambitious but be realistic than not have any confidence in yourself.
Exactly. But I just want to, you know, kind of like I said before, I want to inspire people. I want to be one of the greats, and I want to be like genuinely like proud of who I became in the sport.
Right.
You know, so I see myself, I guess I have to see myself as like this like kind of, you know, 29 might be a little late, but like, you know, like a national level competitor.
29 is not late at all. No.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Grace. I'll be with her, you know, living my life. I can't say whether I'll be in Maine or not. I love Maine though. So we'll see. I kind of want to pursue a career in computer science and software. So
hard.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I can get more into that maybe on a different date where we can have some transcendental thoughts. But
right.
Yeah, man. What about you?
Well, I guess before I talk about it, Michael, what is it as a competitor? Where do you see yourself on because you've been to nationals before, but do you see yourself making another nationals? Do you see yourself being in a prime time? Talk to me.
I mean, I see myself being at 2023 Raw Nationals. So
okay.
Yeah. Hopefully every nationals going forward, I would hope so.
Hope to be there. Yeah.
In a prime time, I would definitely like to get there.
Yep.
Placing top 3 and becoming a pro, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
But yeah, just maintaining like being at the top.
Yeah.
Say at least top 5.
True.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10 would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. So I guess if we're gonna look at it in terms of being a competitor, yeah, I will fully admit that I do see myself as being in that top 10 in the U.S. At least 4 out of those years in the next 10 years or so. I don't know if I'll do it this year. So I finished my junior career at number 7 in the nation, which was pretty cool for me. I think I can do that. I think I'll put the work in to do that. Outcomes are outcomes. You can't really control some aspects, but I know that it won't be for lack of effort. So I think that's something I can fall back on. Do I think I'll ever win a nationals in the open 67.5 class? To be honest, no. I don't think that in terms of, because hard work aside, there is a genetic component. Do I think I have good genetics? Yeah, absolutely. Because I would like to consider myself as a, pretty strong lifter. But I don't think I have top 1 of 1% genetics like some of those guys do. However, I do think that I can easily, maybe not easily, but I do think that I have the capacity to make top 5, top 3, do the whole professional thing, and be a staple on the scene for the next decade or so. I can't see myself moving up ever unless I really, really had to. But who knows? Something could change in the next couple of years. In terms of a coach, ideally within the next 10 years, I would like to really expand my roster and be able to do this as close to full time as I can. I'd say I'm getting to the point where it's close with that, which is pretty cool. And then I guess the last piece, probably year 10, owning my own facility in some capacity. We've been talking about it for years, Beach Town Barbell. If we can ever do that, that would be sick. Have our own lifters there. We can send people to meets, run meets. Just having that capacity would be really cool to me.
We could have our own podcast studio in there.
You know what I mean? It would be the gift that keeps on giving. You know what I mean? So maybe 10 years from now, when we refer back to episode 7 of the Utopiacast, we can say we spoke this into existence.
Yo, people want to know though. Because Michael and I talked about this.
Yeah.
What's the future looking like as far as, getting a girl involved in the Logan lifestyle?
Well, I don't know if anyone can see on the, the visual here, but Drake said it, not me. Pinky ring until I get a wedding ring. Love my brothers, cut them in on everything. And the next line is, and I'm King Salam Drizzy. Damn, she just said I'm bae. I hit the thizzle dance. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Does that answer your question?
Not really, but yeah.
Okay, the people listening, I'm sure that will suffice and be a good answer.
Well, I have to elaborate at some point.
At some point, I will elaborate.
For sure.
So yeah, that's that. That's what we see ourselves in the next 10 years. Let's move on to this next one here. So I really like this question here. This is from Mr. Tony Wynn. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. And he asks, what's a piece of advice you would tell yourself when you first started powerlifting? Now, I think this is a really good question because Michael's been doing it longer than all of us. I've been doing it, pretty long time, and then also have a different, side of things because, I kind of started right when the boom was taking off. And then Elliot started pretty much last year where powerlifting has really solidified itself as like a popular thing. Who would like to go first? I can go first.
I can go first.
Elliot, go
I'm
ahead.
pretty passionate about this one because I swear by it to everyone I tell. Everyone I try to get into powerlifting, I tell them this same piece of advice. So what I would say is to just pick one path or one route you want to follow and then just be decisive.
Yeah.
Stick to your gut instinct or just stick to your plan or whatever, but don't teeter-totter between not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So, to contextualize this a little bit, if you're, chubby and you want to get stronger, but you want to like look aesthetic, that's a pretty valid concern these days.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't teeter-totter between, I'm going to diet for a little bit, but I want to try to get stronger, this and that, because you'll just make crummy progress on both of those.
Or no progress at all.
Exactly. And
yeah.
Same if you're like, skinny and you're scared of getting, too big, but you want to put on muscle, like same thing. Or even, in training itself, you don't know like which program to run.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you want to train to be like a powerlifter or bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you should pull conventional or sumo or high bar or low bar or any like minor little thing about your form.
Yeah.
Just be decisive
Mm-hmm.
and just be consistent.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes progress. One day of like missing a workout is a good example. Not exactly what I'm talking about, but one day of missing a workout won't ruin you. But, consistently missing workouts will ruin you.
It's the habits, right? Yeah. Because you talked about it before. You miss one, then you're like, I'll miss the next one. I'll just push it back. And then you keep pushing it back and keep pushing it back. And it becomes like a vicious cycle type deal.
For sure. And then like, vice versa. One great squat workout where you tweak one thing is not going to make you a better squatter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be kind of like off the cuff.
Yeah.
Coincident. You're going to do it because you're lucky.
Yeah.
Versus if you cultivate this technique over the course of a month, a year, whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to be successful.
Of course. Absolutely. I think that's a really good piece of advice there, especially since you're currently living that. You know what I mean? You can look back a year ago. Michael, do you have something or I can go next?
Yeah, I would basically, what I would do different would be probably doing more back downs on the big 3 lifts.
So like more volume or more like actually doing back downs?
Actually doing back downs.
Right, because
I never used to do that.
It's true.
So
Tell them what you used to do.
I used to kind of do like, I guess you could call it ascending sets.
Yep.
I would work up to a top set and basically that would be it. And then I'd do accessory work.
Right. Sometimes.
Lower body, there would be 0 accessory work.
Yeah.
But I was doing ascending sets. So I guess you could say I was getting some work in,
mm-hmm.
but I noticed that I've gotten a lot more progress doing actual back downs.
I mean, deadlift especially. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Tiring myself out before that top set.
Right.
It's made a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael is being serious because I remember when we very, very first started training in 2018, I remember very vividly Michael coming into the gym. He did a top double on squats and then he left.
Yep.
He didn't do anything after that.
No.
It took about 2 hours to work up to that top double. And as soon as he hit it, he's like, all right, man, I think I'm going to head out. I'm like, is that it? He's like, yeah.
I wish I would have done more like leg accessories because I did all my upper body.
It's true, you did. Yeah.
But I did nothing for legs. Like I didn't do leg extensions, leg curls,
leg press or anything.
I just thought that squatting was enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that came a little bit from my dad, but
mm-hmm.
like that's not saying that my dad did it wrong.
Yeah.
He taught me what he did, and I went very far with the way he taught me.
And again, Michael won a nationals and has gone to a world, so it would be very, very immature to say that what you did didn't work. And who's to say it would have made you X amount better?
Yeah.
You just know that's working for you right now.
Yeah, maybe and I had knee injuries along the way, so it's like I was constantly battling something. So
exactly.
You never know.
Yeah.
And another thing is kind of like try and enjoy the moment at competitions.
Yeah.
I wish I always like have been able to do that, but I always held like
I'm really passionate about that.
Yeah, because it's hard to, because you want to do well and you feel like you can't do well unless you're just focused on winning.
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
You get through the meet and it's like, okay, now it's over and I can enjoy it. But it's like, all right, you just spent the whole day. Now I'm tired. Now I
Yeah,
wanna go home.
exactly.
Yeah, and you're at the end of the meet, and it's like everyone's sitting around. You're just like enjoying the win, but that was it.
Right, exactly. And Tony Peterson, who competed 2 weeks ago, you guys saw he did really well. Went 9 for 9, had his best meet. Before his last deadlift, I told him, I said, hey man, make or miss, because he'd already secured a PR total, secured a PR deadlift. I said, you have nothing to lose here. I said, we trained so hard and for so long throughout, all of the training cycles that we do. I said, don't be afraid to enjoy this moment. Don't be afraid to smile out there. You know what I mean? Because you pay so much money to be a part of the sport, and, we only have those 9 attempts to really show for our work. So, I'm not going to sit there and say you need to go out and just like be joyful and have the time of your life and whatnot. But don't be afraid to just kind of take everything and be like, you know what, this is cool. These are the moments that I'll have for life. And you know what I mean? I think that's a really cool thing. Elliot, are you going to say something?
You're just about to make me go transcendental, man.
Yeah.
You get me emotional. You get me worked up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really passionate about that because I see so many people just kind of, they're like, I'm never satisfied and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, you can have that mindset of being never satisfied. I don't think that I'll ever be satisfied, but I 100% admit that there's times where I'm content. Like when I hit a heavy set, do I want to hit more in the future? Hell yeah. But am I content with my PR? Hell yeah. I definitely am. I hit one today. Would I like to hit more in the future? Yes. And I think I will in the future. But for now, in this very moment, I enjoyed that. You know what? That was a good set by me, that type of deal.
That's nirvana right there.
Yeah, seriously.
Peace, bro.
Right. And I just wish everyone could find that peace. Now, that being said, my piece of advice would be start off on the very low end of where you think you are, and don't be afraid to do less than you think that you're capable of. Because I started off on too high frequency and too high volume. I started off benching as soon as I started committing to powerlifting, I was benching 4 days a week, squatting 3 days a week, deadlifting 2 days a week. And, I've talked about this before. I've made more progress now taking a day off each one of those. So now I only deadlift once, I bench 3 times and squat twice, and I've made so much more progress that way. And I can't help but think that I would have made not only more progress sooner, but had less injuries doing it that way. We say all of these things, but I think none of us would trade it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because how else would we have learned?
Yeah, I mean, you got to end up where you are somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. But, with that being said, if we can kind of help someone else avoid those things, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing that you're saying, though. Less is more thing.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the hardest part about powerlifting, I think, to most people.
It is, and it's very hard to communicate that with some people because everyone sees the social media people as like, I always like to refer back to that deadlifting kid, Nabil, I think his name is. I'm full disclosure, I don't know what his frequencies are in each lift, but it seems like he deadlifts like 3 to 4 days a week. And everyone who sees that is like, why am I only pulling 1 day a week? And I'm like, this is what I always default to. Are you making progress? The answer, yes. Okay, why would we change it?
His deadlift has gone down. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Pay attention to him a lot?
No, because I don't really follow him, but I see his stuff here and there. And I'm sure he's a fine person and whatnot, and he has a really interesting personality. But like I said, a lot of my younger guys are like, I see this person doing that. And it's like, 1, are you him? No. 2, are you making progress at what you're doing now? Yes. Why would we change it? It would be a risk to say, what happens when you do what I did and you raise your frequency too high? I was getting pec injuries, knee injuries, and back injuries and stuff like that. I don't want you to be hurt.
Here's another thing too, is the longevity that Sam was talking about. Like his deadlift, I saw a video the other day. I think in a competition he pulled like 750, like somewhere around there. Maybe not in a competition, but in the gym.
Okay.
And then the other day I saw him do like six something.
Right.
Not closer to 600 than 700, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And, in the caption, typical RP 6.5. But it was like, no chance could he add 100 pounds for what he was doing and like match his all-time PR.
Right.
So if you want to talk about realistically, we've done this before. So there's another question that you might ask later on that we can loop back around to this. You want to talk about like motivation, longevity, consistency, getting stronger. Yeah.
Well, why don't we do that? I'll shout out the person who asked that question. We can answer that question next. That was right here. This was Connor Silky, who's a former, I like to consider him a current client of mine. He's just taking some time off, because he's dealt with this himself. And that question is, how do we stay motivated year round and prevent burnout? So would you like to take the floor with that?
Yeah, sure. Well, just going back to the King example, like his lifts, maybe not squat and bench, but his deadlift has gone down.
Yeah.
And that's what he's known for, right?
Yeah.
So when you push, and you don't stay like, consistently, like slowly getting stronger,
Right.
That burnout
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah.
You can't match like your all-time PRs, you get upset. So, just my little piece on that. Consistency and taking it slow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very hard, and you understand it now. And I think this is like the last piece for you is understanding that you don't need to be going balls to the wall, RPE 9 every single week in order for you to make progress and make lifts when it counts. Other people, especially those younger than you, because Elliot just turned 19 the other day. He's becoming an elder statesman. They just don't understand that, you know what I mean? And that's unfortunately. And let's be honest though, this kid that we keep referring to, all of his like post engagement is way higher when he's posting heavy deadlifts than when he's posting like his meet results and whatnot. So he's leaning into what's getting him more attention, and I can't blame him for that. You know what I mean? If that is something that is you're passionate about, lean into that. But again, we're talking about being powerlifters here. Can't really do it that way. Michael, you kind of dealt with burnout.
Yeah.
What did you do? What kind of led to that burnout, you think, and what kind of got you out of it?
I think what led to it was just always pushing myself, like constantly wanting to get better, and then I like started to stall out, and I was kind of stuck on my bench 275 to 290 ish.
Yep.
And then so this was like right after me and you competed.
Yep, in 2018 in November.
Yeah, so in early 2019, I had never dealt with like lower body injuries, like leg injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was constantly getting like tight hamstrings, like tight quads, and it was just not working out. And I kind of was just getting frustrated.
Right.
Because I had always dealt with upper body stuff. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to fix both at the same time?
Yeah. And that's a frustrating thing.
Yeah. So I took time off. I think what got me out of it was kind of getting back around powerlifting, and like you asked me to help out at that meet, and then like
I feel like that was so huge.
Yeah, literally I was looking back at our texts, literally like 2 weeks later, I think I had texted you saying I wanted to compete again.
Yeah, and I was lit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I'm getting my boy back. Let's go.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm so glad that I went to that meet and helped out.
Yeah.
And I think as far as like staying motivated, I think you just need to have a goal, like constantly have a meet planned, or
and the goal doesn't always have to be PR single.
No, because then you're gonna get injured.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I just hit 405 today, I want to hit 430 in 6 months. It's
Right.
Like, that may not happen.
Right.
But having a meet or just something that can keep you motivated, and like if you can't get to the gym, like just like forcing yourself to like find time.
Right.
You can always find time. Like I go to the gym really early in the morning.
Yeah.
And I don't like it all the time, but I make myself go.
Right. Exactly. And our first initial recording, Elliot spoke upon like the discipline aspect, that motivation is very fleeting, and that discipline is kind of what you have to fall back on. Would you agree with that still?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And then just like bring my whole transcendental kiss to this, if you will.
Right.
Back what we were talking about earlier, achieving nirvana, finding peace in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael says, a goal is important. A goal will help you stay motivated. In reality, there's a push and pull balance to everything.
Right.
There's a yin and a yang, and goals are important, but if you become too obsessed with that, when you don't hit your goals or it's not coming fast enough, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So really it's a balance between setting goals so you want to get better, and then, just falling in love with the process.
Yeah.
Being happy, being content.
Yes.
Being peaceful.
Absolutely. Now, I guess, how do you stay motivated year round? I think kind of getting the mindset out of your head that you will be motivated year round is the first piece, because, and again, we're talking about our first initial recording. I kind of alluded to the fact that, I have 5 training days in a week, and I would say that I am motivated in terms of like, come on, let's go, let's get after it for 2 of those, right? So that means more than half of the week. I'm just going through the motions, and I have no problem admitting that. And it's very realistic in the sense of that's something that I can maintain year round. If I were to try to put on a facade that Every single session, I'm coming in, I'm laser focused, I'm ready to go. Like Michael, we got together for a Thursday session, and both of us were just like, you know what I mean?
We're just talking, and that's fine too.
That is fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. It's wrapping your head around the fact that when you enter the gym, it does not need to be a war zone type deal. This is do or die. There are some sessions where you can just kind of take the foot off the gas pedal, and that will actually benefit you sometimes more than the ones where you do accelerate.
And like taking a day off is not necessarily the answer either. Like just going in and getting the blood flow through the muscles is as good as like going in and like doing just a little bit of work. It's like you got to do something.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too, Eric, is like what you said. Sometimes taking that step back can benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the gym and you're not as hyped, but you go through the motions, you get it done,
mm-hmm.
you keep it light. That's like the building blocks of the successful sessions that actually end up getting you extremely, extremely lit. Like if I didn't come in on Mondays and have like RP 6 sets of squats that I could really care less about, that
Yeah.
I, like dread,
Mm-hmm.
then on Saturdays when I pull up and I'm shaking the whole time because I'm so lit, it's like that wouldn't be there.
Seriously.
And I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be looking forward to it. I wouldn't be hype. I wouldn't hit the numbers. I wouldn't love it in the first place. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And when your default is like to be this high across the board, it's very hard to go higher than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see so many times like people like, I see this more so on like the USPA side of things where people hit like a big milestone lift and, in USPA, you can take a 4th attempt for a state record. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably there, but emotionally, can you take yourself there again? You know how hard it is to bring yourself, like think about when you go for an all-time PR and then bringing yourself up to that zone where you're like, you hit the nose torque and you're like, your emotions are very high and you hit the lift and whatever. And yeah, it was probably easy. Can you do that again? Probably not. You know what I mean? So trying to default to that things won't be motivating all the time would be my first piece. How do you prevent burnout? Well, there's 2 different things I kind of default to when it comes to that. The first one is don't be so hyper obsessed with top end strength. Take a cycle and focus on like a 5 rep. Take a cycle and focus on maybe a variation. You know what I mean? Don't compare yourself to your competition style lifts when you were the absolute strongest. You take yourself a week out, a week after the meet, and you do your first training cycle after the meet, you're probably not going to be as strong. So it would be very, very inappropriate for you to say like, man, I just did a meet, a couple weeks ago, and I hit 400 pounds on squat, and now 300 pounds for sets of 5 feels difficult. Well, you're not peaked anymore. You know what I mean? So kind of trying to reframe that way. And the last piece that I would say, and I think that I've done a good job of this myself, and I think you guys do as well, is not comparing yourself. You know what I mean? It is very difficult in today's day and age to go on your Instagram and YouTube and see people who are similar stature, similar weight, similar age than you, and get disappointed when they're doing something that's more impressive than you are. Every time I see, so like say if I didn't know Michael and I saw him post his what was a big lift, like a 525 deadlift double, I'd be like, awesome, like that is sick. I admire that because he's the same size as me. It's a heavy set. I don't sit there and lament and be like, man, my deadlift double is only 500 or something like that. I would never do that. And I think that mindset has kind of helped me through. Does it necessarily mean that you're not competitive? No, I don't think it means that. I just think it means that, you're able to kind of separate admiring the process versus being obsessed with it, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so I think that's good for there. Let's move on to this next one here. This is asked by Mr. Brandon Allen, friend of the Utopiacast, who shouts out every one of our podcasts. So Brandon, shout out to you, man. Really appreciate that. He's doing his first meet and he's looking pretty strong. His question, and this one is a really good one as well, is how meaningful, there's 2 different things. How meaningful are relationships you've made through training? And then do you think you would have made it as far in the game without them? Would anyone like to start first?
I think they're super meaningful. Like we're all friends. Like we all met through the gym.
Pretty much.
And now we hang out outside the gym.
Yep. I met Elliot through the gym.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I met you when we were kids, but we
didn't.
The gym brought us back together.
Yep, it's true.
And I spend a lot of my time in the gym, so it's like if I had nobody to hang out with like in the gym, it would kind of make it harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't necessarily want to go in on Saturday and hit a big squat, hit a big bench.
Yep.
But like us, like 6 of us all getting together, it's like it kind of makes it fun. Like you look forward to that day.
I really look forward to those Saturdays, man.
Yeah. Like most of the time I deadlift alone on Wednesdays,
Mhm.
and that's a big day, but like it's not nearly as fun as like hitting a big squat with you guys, even if I'm not the one hitting the big squat.
Right.
And I think would I have made it this far? I think I would have probably made it this far,
Mhm.
but it would have not been like as enjoyable.
Right. That makes
Like,
sense.
You, like I said, you have fun in the gym when you have people around.
True. Even the most introverted people still would agree with that, I would think. Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, think about like your favorite show, favorite game, favorite this, that. You know, I think a lot of what makes people happy and content in life is the sense of like community.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so, you know, whether you want to sit here and say, oh, I like powerlifting just because like me, like I'm getting stronger, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, that's true. But like you meet friends, people are proud of you, compete as a team, you cheer people on. It's like so much more than just me all the time.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, on the surface level, I'm sure it seems like that, to be honest.
Mhm.
So yeah, the people we meet, the connections we make along the way, it's super important.
Yeah.
You especially, like you, I go to you for so much advice, just to like joke around or whatever,
Right.
like anything really.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have that without the gym.
True.
And you know, I probably wouldn't. You know, this is going above and over the question, but I wouldn't be the person I am today without the gym. And so, to what extent can I say like the connections I've made are from the gym? I don't know if this is really the point of the question anymore, but certainly it is important.
Yeah. So you're basically driving home the point that those relationships pretty much mean the world to you.
100%. And you know, Grace, my closest companion, my girlfriend, I didn't necessarily meet her through the gym, but like I was just saying, would I be the same person I am? Would I have the confidence? Would I be a driven individual? Who's to say?
Yeah.
And that certainly is a relationship that is more important to me than anyone else. So
right.
Would I have made it this far? You know, like Michael said, probably.
Yeah.
But you want to know what I think? Is that if I had made it this far, I would still be yearning to find like more friends.
Right.
I would still be yearning to fit in. At some point, like, you know, at the national level or whatever.
Of course.
I would be ambitious in that. I want to take part in like this big group of elite lifters. So
yeah. Right. Yeah. And, you know, I think we've all pretty much said our piece on it. Yeah. The relationships I've established through the gym and whatnot, has provided me, you know, a possible, not even a possible, but like another source of income in terms of monetary value. It's provided me with the best times I've had in my young adult life. It's provided me, you know, a sense of belonging, you know, because like we talked about, if anyone got a chance to listen to episode 4, you know, when I left team sports, I was kind of missing that belonging aspect. So the relationships that I've established mean the world to me as well. You know what I mean? I wouldn't trade them for the world. You know, I've met so many cool people. And, you know, as we've talked about, I'm not like the type of person who enjoys like opening myself up to people. And the fact that I feel comfortable in that zone to do that should say everything. You know what I mean? So that's definitely where I'm the most comfortable. You know, would I have made it as far without them? Yeah. And I'm pretty comfortable admitting that. And I'm going to reiterate what these two just said. I would have definitely made it to where I am now. It just would have been way less enjoyable, and it probably wouldn't last as long. I probably would be out of the game by the time I'm 30, because you can't be miserable saying like, oh, I'm the strong guy or whatever, and then you have no one to talk to. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, life is a real thing. And if you don't have other people to kind of take your mind, because like I think of the things that we do outside, like we went to round 1 and we went to like run of the mill and stuff like that. Like if we didn't have that,
we invented
the sip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we didn't have like those things to kind of offset us, we would just be driven insane with, you know, what we do.
You know, at the same time, there's nothing in this world that is objectively purposeful, impactful.
Right.
And so the things we place value in are just a completely like humanly constructed, basically nonsense.
Yeah.
So would this even matter to us?
Yeah. Perception is reality. You know what I mean? It really is. So it is what you make of it. So yeah, the relationships that we've made is really important here. All right, let's go. All right, so this is a good one here. Mr. And I am going to apologize if I pronounce the last name incorrect. This is Mr. Ryan Pauly, member of Team King. Shout out Team King, all friends of the Utopiacast, all do USAPL main meets. Zach King, Anthony Wynn, Seth Hartford, Ian Brain. I'm blanking on, the other people, but shout out all y'all. Ryan Pauly asked, what is everyone's nutrition like? Who would like to go first? Because Ryan, I believe, is a vegan.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
I could never do that.
Yeah.
I'd say my nutrition is pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I eat kind of the same thing every day. My lunches are pretty healthy. I do like chicken and rice or like chicken and beef.
Okay.
Like a lean beef.
Now, and you currently track, correct, Michael? You track your macros?
I track everything right now.
Right.
But in the off season, I don't track a lot. Like I'll keep an eye on my protein, but other than that, I don't track like every little thing I'm intaking.
Yeah.
And I take multivitamin. I take like other vitamins and supplements.
Like glucosamine, fish oil.
Yeah,
yep.
Glucosamine, fish oil. Take a vitamin D. I take collagen.
Yep.
Just like things for joint health and just overall health.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say for like a power lifter, my diet is pretty deep.
Yeah, absolutely. It works for you too with your schedule and whatnot.
Yeah.
Elliot.
First off, shout out Ryan. I had no idea he was a vegan.
Yeah.
Where'd you find this out?
He said it in the question, but he has posted about it on his story a couple times. I actually know quite a few vegan powerlifters. Bobby Dortona, friend of the Utopiacast.
He's vegan?
Bobby? Yeah. Bobby's been vegan, yes.
It's on his Instagram.
I'm pretty sure it says it like directly underneath. It says vegan, but anyway, he's been a vegan. I believe I might be getting this wrong since 2017. And Matt Cronin, who's one of the best coaches in the USAPL right now, who's also a strong lifter himself, is vegan. So yeah,
is that possible?
It's very possible. We can get into the vegan debate in terms of how it's possible, because it definitely is possible.
I'm not hating.
No, I know you're not hating, but I'm sure other people would be curious as to, how can people do that? But we'll get into that at another point.
Yeah,
what's your nutrition like?
It's crazy for me because in order for me to feel like I am like eating a meal
that
has nutritional value, like I need to have meat.
Right.
And maybe that's a totally like whack thing.
No.
Definitely to the vegans out there, it sounds whack.
Right.
But I think a lot of people would agree that like meat is like the main focus of a lot of meals.
Yeah.
Anyway,
or maybe not just meat, but like animal product is. Right. Yeah.
It definitely brings, like a fulfillment factor, a protein factor for sure when talk about lifting. My nutrition, pretty bad.
Right.
A very quick segue into that.
Yeah.
It's not bad
agreed.
On the macro level.
I will say that. No, it's not. It's not.
And I don't track like Michael here. But I have tracked before. And I think that's why I don't track, why I'm comfortable not tracking is like, I kind of know how much meat is like a certain amount of protein. I kind of know how much rice is like a certain amount of calories. And when I did track, I didn't really pay attention to carbs and fats. I just kind of let them fill in my calories. I just paid attention to protein. So I kind of just try to make sure I'm getting, right now at least, while I'm trying to make weight for this meat, I'm eating in a deficit and then I'm getting enough protein.
Right.
And I kind of just have like a good idea of how many calories I need
to
be in a deficit, and then
kind of watch the scale.
Yeah, and then I know how much protein is whenever I eat.
Yeah.
That's good. I drink a lot of shakes.
Yep.
A lot of the Fairlife. So that's where I get the majority of my protein, and then the number's right on the bottle, so it makes it pretty back.
Yeah.
What I will say is that, like, I imagine most out there to be, I am supremely lacking in micronutrients.
Right. Your food quality isn't always the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I do eat the occasional fruit and vegetable. Last night, Grace made me a fantastic shake.
Okay.
With a bunch of fruit in it, so I'm pretty healthy right now.
I am health.
But realistically, like if I'm making a meal for myself, I could care less about like the vegetables or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just make it simply to get like my carbs, whether it's like before. After a workout, I make it to get like my certain amount of carbs and then my certain amount of protein. So
right,
not the best, not the worst.
Right.
Probably not good for longevity, but for making gains right now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with nutrition, we could sit here and say the healthiest diet is X, Y, and Z. But it comes down to two things. One, adherence. Are you going to adhere to that? Like if you don't like that diet, it's just not going to work for you because you're just going to fall off the bandwagon. And then the second piece would be how sustainable is it for your lifestyle, right? So like Michael, Michael for reference is here. He's off work currently, but he's going to go back to work after this. It wouldn't be feasible for you to, I mean, I'm sure that you could do the whole meal prep thing or whatever, but it wouldn't be feasible for you to like come home and cook a meal every single time or whatnot. Sometimes you have to have some quick stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like ideally I could like warm up my food, but I don't even get to do that.
That's what I mean. Like he quite literally is blocking off an hour to be here.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I just make whatever's easiest and whatever I can eat like the quickest. Like I try and like eat while I'm going. I used to be able to like make a sandwich and eat while I drive.
Right.
But, like now I gotta pull over and eat my rice and beef. Which
right.
Isn't like, I don't love it.
Yeah.
But for right now, that's what I have to do.
Exactly.
I used to like stop and buy food sometimes.
Yeah.
But like right now, I just can't do that.
Course, yeah, it makes sense. Now it depends on the time of the year for me. I would say my nutrition is pretty good for the most part. Over this last year, I would say it definitely has decreased in terms of food quality, because we talked about it ad nauseum. I was driving 10 hours a week, and then plus meets would be anywhere between 12 and 13 hours a week. So that's 13 hours of unpreparing a meal, not having time to like pull over and stuff like that. So I become quite the fast food consumer during that time. Now, am I, downing back large fries and stuff like that? No, I like to keep it pretty healthy when I'm eating out and whatnot. Smoothies and stuff like that. Stuff of the like, not having chicken nuggets and stuff like that. Although I do indulge, every now and then. But that definitely declined. But most points during the year, I don't have a super big appetite. So what's really worked out for me is in the mornings I'll have a really carb, maybe not heavy, but mostly carb meal. I really don't eat much until about, and that will be around anywhere between 6 or 7 a.m. I really don't eat much until around 2 or 3 p.m. And then my last meal usually is dinner time or whatnot, and that is actually the most calories that I consume during the day. Works out for me because I don't really train well on a full stomach. Whether it's burping or just having like that feeling around your belt, I just don't like it and whatnot. So it works out well for me there. In terms of food quality, I hate vegetables, so I don't consume any vegetables. I actually just take a green supplement that we showed last time we tried to record this. That's pretty good. I take whey protein, I take fish oil, I take D3, multivitamins. I consume a ton of animal product. I eat a lot of steak. I consume steak probably about 3 or 4 times a week. I really am a big fan of rice and like simple carbs like that. I consume rice probably about 4 or 5 days a week. So my nutrition is very simple. I go through periods where I track religiously and then kind of loosely track. And I'm kind of in the religious track zone right now. But most parts of the year, I just kind of loosely track.
I got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Vegans, close your ears. Best meat.
In terms of my favorite?
In terms of like favorite, like, how it tastes.
Steak by far.
How much protein is in there, like how it makes you feel.
Steak by far.
Yeah, I recently got into steak and specifically ribeye steaks.
Okay.
Those are so good.
Yeah.
Really? What is it about the steaks?
It's euphoric.
Yeah.
Just like.
And like I cook it and it's just fun to cook it and like try different ways to cook it.
My go-to meal, if you want, this is the Erik Hogan secret right here. My go-to meal is about anywhere between 6 to 8 ounces of steak. I actually prefer sirloin. It's a leaner cut. I just kind of like it a little bit better. I love ribeyes, don't get me wrong, but sirloin's my favorite. Jasmine rice in a bowl, and then I mix it with lemon pepper. In a bowl, you cut it up, you put it in a bowl, and I put lemon pepper all over it, and it is euphoric. And I can consume that meal. I'm not exaggerating, people. I'm not exaggerating. I could have that meal for 3 meals every single day, and I promise you, on God as my witness, I would never get tired of it.
Let me interrupt that thought. How do you cook your steak?
I prefer it medium.
Medium.
Yeah.
Probably like medium rare.
Yeah.
Medium rare, okay. I'm a medium guy too.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a big chicken guy myself.
Chicken. Yeah. So like Chipotle is one of my favorites, and I always get a steak burrito. And people get kind of weird about that you get steak burrito because it's like I guess it's a normal thing to get chicken or whatever. I wasn't when I first started going to Chipotle, I wasn't aware of that. I was like, they got steak here, and I actually get double steak.
You want to know my biggest gripe with steak?
What?
It gets stuck in my teeth, bro, and I hate it.
Just use some floss, bro.
It's like, just grow up. No, bro, it just hurts sometimes. Like, it's just uncomfortable. Like, I guess it doesn't really hurt, but I just don't like that feeling, bro. I hate it, and I don't know. I'm a chicken guy.
All right, we got a couple more questions here, and we'll close this out. So this is a question I believe asked by Lydia, who is Michael's girlfriend. Powerlifting Girlfriends, you guys kind of have this kind of going on right now. They've never done meets, but they definitely train heavy. They definitely train, pretty hard, I would say. What's that like? Because they weren't powerlifters before you met them, but now they're kind of into it. What's that dynamic like? Do you enjoy that? I'm sure you guys do, but what is the cool parts of it?
I enjoy it because like I get to work out with her some days. I get to make her programs.
Right, Team Beaupre.
Yeah, Team Beaupre over here. And it's just fun to like see her make progress and like see her have something like that she really enjoys.
Yeah.
Like other than like school and work, like she doesn't really do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like she'll go hang out with her friends sometimes, or like come hang out with like us at like round one. But yeah, she really enjoys the gym, it seems.
Yeah.
And I love that she like found something that she enjoys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really cool to lift with someone like you genuinely care about because, someone like us who can only PR like for me, once a month, twice a month. For you, like, yeah, I say only, but like, realistically, people who can't PR as much as a new lifter like Lydia or Grace could, when you genuinely care about someone like that, it's just like every time they hit a PR too, you're like over the moon.
Right.
Like you're literally euphoric. Like I think I jump more for Grace's PRs in the gym than I do for my own.
Right.
And it's just incredible, like having a new lifter by your side too.
Mm-hmm.
And like to what Tony asked actually.
Mm-hmm.
You can teach them what you wish you knew.
Right.
And you can see like the true potential of what like a new lifter can do.
Right.
And I'm actually like, dude, I'm so proud of Grace.
Yeah.
Like she takes her diet so seriously, does everything I ask her to do in the gym. She's so strong, looking good, she's feeling good.
Yeah.
Just emotional.
Yeah.
And then outside of the gym as well, it's just more like compatibility.
Right.
Like we talked about last time we recorded this, there's a lot of like whack shit that like powerlifters kind of have to do.
Yeah.
I guess not necessarily whack, but like
this was cool.
Unconventional stuff.
Yeah. Speak on that though.
Yeah. Like so late at night, right? You're at like 150 grams of protein. You weigh 200 pounds. You need a little bit more, right? In a typical relationship, you might be like, yo, I need to eat. And your girl's going to be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just trying to watch a movie.
The thing that you said is, yo, I need to go take a shake.
Yeah. You go get a shake. And, like in a typical relationship, you might be met with like, a little bit of disgust, a little bit of confusion, a little bit of annoyance. And then, me and Grace, it's like, I need to go get a shake. Grace is like, you know what? Me too. Or usually it's honestly vice versa. Grace is like, I need a shake. And I'm like, damn, like, you're really trying to have a shake right now? Like, yes, I need one too, but
yeah, exactly. You usually say like, yeah, I'm not really feeling the shake right now, but you still do it because you have to.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, she's so good because she's so good at her diet. Like, I admire that so much about her. She's better at her diet than I am.
I will say,
for sure.
Stereotypically speaking, females are usually better with the diet stuff than males, from what I've observed. I don't know if that's necessarily rooted in like a study or anything like that, but that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, well, she says that she's like doesn't want to do all for nothing.
Right.
And that's valid.
It is
so valid.
It is valid.
But yeah, she keeps me in line too. Yeah. So there's that compatibility factor in that.
Yeah,
she also keeps me in line.
One more thing in common, never hurts. And then, definitely the aspect of keeping you kind of tied down and whatnot in terms of like the stuff that you need to be doing. So I'm sure that is an interesting aspect to have here. Now, we have a little bit of time remaining. So let's, for a couple of these before we go to shoutouts, let's try to breeze through a couple of these. So maybe just the first thing that comes to your head type deal. Let's start with the fun one here. Michael, remind me, this is the donuts question. Who asked this question?
This is Dom D'Alessandro.
Okay.
He works with us.
Okay.
Beaupre Fuels.
Yep. So his question is, could you eat a dozen donuts and what would the plan of attack be?
I think I could after like prepping for a meet.
Yep.
After dieting and all that, but like any time of year, probably not.
Okay.
My plan of attack would be like one Boston cream just because I like them.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're kind of like dense.
Right.
A couple frosted, some glazed, and just like an assorted donuts.
Okay, so you go through the variety approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why he's asking this is because my grandmother always used to get a dozen donuts every single day.
Right.
And he would eat like 4 or 5 a day.
That's awesome.
It was bad.
That's sick.
And I would have like 1 or 2, if that. Like some days I wouldn't even have any.
2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 1,000. So he's probably consuming anywhere between 14 and 1,600 calories worth of donuts
Every day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So funny, bro.
Elliot, do you think you could do it? What would the plan of attack be?
Yeah, so I think like the question of whether I could do it or not is completely out the window. Like, of course I could do it.
Right.
Just turned 19.
You've pretty much done it before.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick story time or no?
Very quick.
Very quick. Shout out Christopher Jordan, Mega Aesthetic on Instagram, YouTube, whatever.
Yep.
One day we had to do a 10,000 calorie challenge for his YouTube channel. And the first place we went was Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
And just that meal alone, breakfast, I think it was like, it only came out to like 3,700 calories or something, like pretty light for a 10,000. I had 3 sausage, egg, and cheese on croissants, and then half a dozen donuts.
That's insane. The fat, that's like
And-
close to 200 grams of fat right there.
Bro, I'm not kidding you. I could have had more. But I didn't because
Could we do a 10,000 calorie challenge after this meet?
we could.
You guys do whatever the fuck you want to do.
You wanna do it
I'm
with us?
no. I'm
Come
sorry.
on.
No, I'm not doing that.
We'll do it on like a Saturday and then we'll go to round 1.
I'll go to round 1. I'm not doing the 10,000 calories.
Yeah, but I definitely could.
Okay.
I have like a ravenous appetite, guys. But what my plan of attack be?
Mm,
Anything.
just literally anything.
Literally anything. This is kind of a bum question, I guess, because I'm not very picky with my donuts. So
Right.
I definitely could, but I would go for at least a few like blueberry glazed.
Mhm.
No plain glazed, to be honest.
Fair.
I don't really mess with that.
Fair.
You know, like strawberry frosted, chocolate glazed.
Okay, so another sorted
anything
approach
really.
guy.
Yeah.
Me, absolutely. In terms of, I hate calling it cheat food, but I guess if we're gonna wrap it under like cheat or junk food, donuts are by far my favorite. I think anyone who's close to me can attest to that. My mother 100% can attest to that. My approach, yeah, I definitely could eat a dozen. My approach would be single, but if the goal was to eat a dozen, I would never want to do it. But if the goal was to do that, and these are not my favorite, I would just get 12 glazed and then just go to 10 because that's the easiest to get back. Probably the lowest calorie count next to, I believe, the plain, and because the plain just tastes like a sock, so that would be hard to kind of throw back.
Dude, the plain is too dry. Dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like like the old fashioned like plain. Bro.
Exactly.
Who likes those?
I know. I mean, let's not hate. There might be someone who'd be like, "Yo, I love those," and you just kind of called them out.
They deserve the hate.
That's a good question there. Though, this is a question that a friend of the Utopiacast and I believe episode 3,
Yeah.
a person who was featured, Andrew Graves, asked these set of questions here. I'm gonna actually ask you guys not to elaborate on this. I just want you to rank it. In your own personal opinion, not for everyone else, but for you personally, I want you to power rank creatine, caffeine, and protein. Would you like to? I can go first, or you guys can go first.
You go first.
Okay, so power rank, I'm going to go from least important, so number 3, to most important to me. Number 3, creatine. Number 2, protein. Number 1, caffeine.
For me, 3 to 1. Last would be caffeine.
Okay.
Second would be creatine, and first would be protein.
Okay, Elliot.
I'm gonna go 3 to 1. First one being the least important. I'm gonna go creatine, caffeine, protein.
And if anyone's curious as to why we ranked that, go ahead and send us a message and we can elaborate on that. Otherwise, we would probably, if this was for the general public, we'd probably switch that list around. But this is for us personally. Andrew also asked this, and again, because we're running out of time here, let's make sure that we are concise, I guess, with our answer here. What has team sports or participation in another sport kind of taught you about powerlifting?
I'll start off because I don't really have much to say about it. I only really competed. I participated in team sports,
Right.
I guess, when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
I played soccer, and I was really bad. I guess not really bad, but I was like pretty bad, like exceptionally bad,
Mm.
like worse than better.
Yeah.
And I was out of shape, and I guess it just taught me that I like holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
I guess like there's no real reason, like especially at that like division and that level of intensity, there's no reason to like get stronger or get better or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I like I like holding myself accountable and getting better, and it kind of translated.
Yeah. Mike?
I would say it kind of taught me how to like work with others.
Yeah.
Even though like you could think that you're doing what you need to do, but this other person isn't, you're not like harping on the fact that they did something wrong.
Yeah.
You kind of just like let it go.
Yeah. Absolutely. I guess the biggest thing that I've learned, as well as that, learning to interact with people who are not like me or maybe have different interests than me and coming together for a common goal. I think that's a huge thing for just life in general, is accepting the fact that winning and losing is very transient and there can only be one winner. And I mean, I guess in the case of powerlifting, there's multiple losers or whatnot, but being able to kind of rationalize that, like, there's a lot of factors that go into winning a game, winning a competition, and some of those are in your control, some of them are not in your control. And being able to learn to only worry about the things in your control was really, really crucial for me. Because I feel if I just entered powerlifting not knowing that, I'd be like, why didn't I win best lifter? I could have done X, Y, and Z. What the hell? Whereas now I know there's a lot of things that go into it. So that's that. Let's do one more from Andrew's batch. Now we're going to go off memory because we don't really have them in front of us. But we checked our PRs in terms of relativity to, other people in our division on strengthcheck.me. Do you guys remember roughly where you sat with those? And did it align with what your visions were and where you rank with like the nation?
I think in my total, I was in like, they were like 95 or 96%, something like that.
Yep. In the 66 junior.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm still technically a junior until November.
Yep.
Bench was somewhere in the mid 90s, 95 or something.
Yep.
Same with the squat and deadlift.
Yep. Yep. Elliot?
For me, my highest was bench, obviously.
You were in the 90th percentile.
90th percentile on bench. And then I think for squat and deadlift, I was like 50 something.
Mm-hmm.
Deadlift might have even been 40 something.
Right.
Which is like...
I don't think it was. I think it was 50. It was like 56 and like... Yeah. Maybe actually you're right. It was 49.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest, because this is what I was going to say. It aligns perfectly with what I think of myself.
Right.
Like, I'm a heavier guy. I have a lot of room to grow. Like, I'm not even in like my, what would you say?
You're not even
typical weight class that
you're not. You're nowhere near your prime yet.
Exactly. I'm not in the recommended weight class. This is what I was trying to say for my height.
Absolutely.
And there's so much more. Like, I just have so much more to do.
Right.
So much more to grow.
Yeah.
And shout out to that. Love the process.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think mine were just exactly where I thought. I have a general understanding that, yeah, I'm in the top 5% when it comes to this weight class. Now, I'm at the very bottom, and whereas Michael's in the top end of being a junior, I guess I'm in the low end of being an open because this is my first full year that I'm closing out in the open. So I think I'm like 92 on squat, 88 in bench, 95 on deadlift, and like 95 on total. So, and to be honest with you guys, and we talked about this before, I really don't give a shit about any of that. Only thing I care about is what my total is kilos wise, and that's the only thing I care about. I really don't care about anything else. I don't care about how I stack with, in terms of relativity and whatnot. I don't care about dots. I don't care about that stuff. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. It reaffirms sometimes where you think you are versus where you actually are. So I think that's that with questions. There was a couple, here and there that were a little bit more segued towards me, but I like to keep it more so, questions that we all could answer. So let's transition out into shoutouts. For anyone who is just listening for the first time, Shoutouts is a segment where you have the floor to shout out any entity, anything, anyone that you would like, and the floor is yours for that moment and that moment only. I can go first if you guys would like. If not, let's shout some things out. So my shout out this week, I've had a breadth of different things I've shouted out. Mine is going to be a song. The song Heads Will Roll by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Elliot, you're very familiar with the remix, I believe.
Only the remix.
Only the remix. And I played you the original version leading into our Saturday's gym session. We got a little lit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I fucking love that song. Came out in 2009, way ahead of its time. I mean, 2009 was such a different time period, and the fact that they were able to come out with that song was crazy to me. Significance of it in a Hulu only movie called Fresh. At the very end, for those who have never watched it, spoiler alert, someone gets bludgeoned essentially with a shovel to the head. And one of the main points of the song, or the main lines, is "off with your head." And it started playing right after that happened. And Elliot saw the film as well. And I was just absolutely losing my mind. I was like in my bed. I was just like squirming around. I'm like, oh my fuck. The Heads Will Roll is playing right now. And I was thinking about it. I was like, this person just got clubbed in the head with a shovel. Heads will roll, off with your head. I was like, this is insane. This is incredible. And the cool part to me is I know some people won't understand that. And I felt like I was better than everyone else because I knew that song before him. And I went to YouTube and I was like, looking at the comments, and I was like, who's here because of Fresh? And I was there way before it, so it just makes me feel like a gatekeeper, which I am.
Pretty sick, yeah.
We'd like to shout out something else.
I can go. I'm going to change up mine from the last time we recorded this. So if I remember correctly, last time we recorded this, I shouted out this cutoff that I own.
Yeah, you did the Union football
cutoff. I know nothing about that. This time around, I'm going to shout out a pretty sick entity, or an umbrella, a class of entities. Shout out swords, bro.
Oh, it's a big sword fan. Elliot got a sword for his birthday.
I got a sword for my birthday. I got 2 swords for my birthday. Seriously. And that's just like sick, bro. Like, I can't even put it into words how euphoric that makes me.
You were literally speechless.
I was literally speechless. I still am, clearly. Just sick. Like, what the? Who do you know that doesn't want a sword?
It's true.
I guess probably a lot of people, but
deep down, they're probably like, I'd take a sword if it was given to me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, dude, I gotta stop. It's too lit. It's a fucking sword, bro.
Michael, what would you like to shout out?
I'm gonna do the same thing that I did when we recorded this first time. Shout out Greek yogurt.
Whoa. Andrew Graves, if you're listening, Greek yogurt. They won't understand that.
So I eat Greek yogurt every day with granola.
Okay.
I've been doing it for like the last 7
High
months.
protein.
Yeah.
Very high protein.
I get the variety pack at Sam's.
Which brand?
Chobani.
Chobani, okay.
Yeah. The only one I don't like is the cherry. I'm not like a huge cherry fan.
Fair.
But yeah, high in protein, high in carbs, and I think it has like no fat or something.
Pretty sure 0 grams of fat.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing with Greek yogurt. Yeah.
So I got it to like gain weight and have like a higher carb breakfast.
And it's good with cutting too. You know what I mean? Because it's high in protein.
Yeah.
And it's relatively filling, not that filling, but it's like filling enough because it takes a while to eat.
Right. Yeah.
So
shout out Greek yogurt.
Shout out Greek yogurt. All right, so that was episode 7, the Utopiacast, our Q&A. Now we might do one in season 2. We might do this every season, but for now, that's probably the last time that we do it for a little bit. In closing, Elliot, do you have anything to say?
Thank you for listening and watching.
Michael, anything in closing?
No.
Very succinct. So yes, that was episode 7. Thank you everyone for not only sending in questions, but engaging with us and watching. Our last video we posted was, it took off, and we just recently passed, I believe, 200 views on YouTube, and our streams and Spotify have been taking off pretty accordingly. So thank you guys for everything. That was episode 7. Have a great one.